Hi, my name's Abbie Trzeciak, and I'm a senior at Seneca Valley, and I play basketball, volleyball, and track.
Well, Abbie was an interesting case because I had originally met her and her mom a couple years ago and started doing some training with them. And I was very adamant about the fact that they needed to get Abbie in to do some training because she had some deficits.
I tore my ACL May 21st, 2013, and it's been 3 months that I've been rehabbing here at Revolution.
Now, honestly, I haven't went back and looked at her original evaluation, but I remembered that she needed to do some things to improve her control of her legs. She's a really tall athlete. She's really super athletic. And that's the thing about these injuries. It doesn't matter how athletic that you think that you are, how strong you think that you are. If you don't have the appropriate screening, it's kind of like going to the dentist. If you might think that you have something wrong, but until you go and somebody tells you what's going on, you don't know. So when I get a patient like Abbie and it's a non-contact injury, to me, that gives me a little bit more of a prognosis of where they're going to be. Because basically, if it's a contact injury and they don't have bad biomechanics, you don't have to fix that afterwards. But if it's a non-contact injury, you know there's a biomechanical problem that's associated with the reason why they tore their ACL. And so once the surgeon fixes the ACL and puts a new ACL in there, that doesn't fix their biomechanics. That's my job. I have to make sure that they're ready to go 100%. And if they already have these problems that they've been patterning in over and over and over and over and over again, especially by the time they're 17 and a senior in high school, it's a lot of work to do. The doctor wants it, so.
My treatment at Revolution's gone perfectly. At the beginning, when I first tore my ACL, we were really concentrating on getting my quad back to 100% strength, and 3 months has passed and I have almost all my quad strength back. So since we've come that far, we are now advancing all of my exercises.
And what we see a lot of the times with the non-contact injuries is that they progress a lot slower, and it takes them a lot longer to get back because their biomechanics are deficient, which doesn't allow things to heal and doesn't allow them to move as well. Well, the beauty of it is Abbie is moving more like a contact injury, or almost more like a male is moving. She's progressing along, and that's one of the things that you see. We use what's called an evaluation-based protocol, which you look at these certain objective measures and to try to determine where you're going to progress people to. A lot of people use what's called a time-based protocol. It's really developed by the surgeons trying to look at how long the graft is healing and these types of things. But functionally, we need to look at everything from an evaluation-based protocol to be able to determine, can they do this? Okay, if they can do this, then we can start doing this next. But if they can't, or they miss some of the things in the first phase, you have to stay down here and wait. A little more lateral. There you go, and up. Jump up, jump up. There you go. At the beginning of the rehab process, we're always trying to look at everything, starting with the end in mind down here. What do we need to do right now that's going to allow the complications down here not to happen?
Dr. Lanil's approach to rehabbing me was very intense. He's been pushing me from the beginning. I've been around sports and I love athletics, so I love a challenge, and I really have been pushing him to push me as hard as he can, and he's been amping my exercises since day one, so we are continuously making them harder.
So the biggest difference I can tell you, and it was great, it was a blessing with Abbie, is that some kids come in with the right attitude and some don't. the biggest thing that makes the difference on whether they get back to 100% or not is their attitude towards their rehab. The best part about working with professional athletes is that not only are they incentivized to do it, they also have this intrinsic desire to get back. And we don't always see that with high school kids, or especially kids that are even younger. They've never had to go through a rehab process. And kids like Abbie, they set their goals and they come in and they do whatever you tell them to do. They stay compliant with their exercises at home, and they do all the little stuff that allows them to get back to 100%. It's hands down number one, the biggest, most important part of the rehab process. Aside from what we do here, aside from the surgeon and the graft, forget about that stuff. None of that stuff works if the patient or the kid doesn't want to do what they need to do to get back to 100%.
I am 19 weeks out from surgery now. Our volleyball season just ended yesterday in a quarterfinal match. We were cut short of our goal of making it to Whippeals, but it was truly, it was a heartbreaking experience, but it was humbling at the same time. I wasn't even supposed to be playing, but being able to be on the court and experience everything with my team these past couple weeks for the last couple games, it's something I only could have dreamed of. Basketball season starts in a couple weeks. I'm getting ready to do some PT to prepare me for that, and I am excited to keep going on this journey.
The thing that I specialized in when I was at Cincinnati was understanding how do you take somebody that had a surgery like this, it was all cut up and chopped up, can't walk, they're on crutches, all swollen, all these types of things, and get them back to running, sprinting, cutting, pivoting at probably better than they were before. And that's probably the difference that what we do here, we look at how do we enhance. So we're actually starting to call our program performance enhancing physical therapy, because we're trying to get people back better than they were before they came to see us, especially if they had a non-contact injury, because we know that there was a biomechanical issue. They weren't as athletic as they needed to be to do the things that they were doing. And the biggest thing that I see, and I tell everybody this all the time, is that you will finish your rehab one way or the other. You're either going to finish it here while you're doing things and everything's going to go smoothly and perfectly, or you're going to finish it later when you either have patellar tendonitis or you're having a re-injury. Your rehab process has to be finished. You have to do the return to sports phase. It's the most important part, especially the way that we're doing things today. The surgeries and everything are allowing the beginning phase to happen really quickly. That's one of the reasons why kids and athletes are progressing so fast, because the surgical techniques are less invasive. So they get through that phase sooner. But to rehab somebody and change their mechanics and their muscle memory and their reaction time, that takes work, and it has to be done to allow them to get back to 100% or even better than they were before, which is really ultimately the goal. Now, they might not know that, but that's my job.
I feel you can only get this experience at Revolution when you've been here for this long rehabbing. You meet a bunch of new people who are also going through the same experiences that you are, and they talk about their other experiences at other physical therapy offices, and from what I've heard, they've never experienced something like Revolution. I don't know. Come to Revolution. It's a blast.